After years of building up other countries, we are finally building up our country, standing up for our workers and fighting for our forgotten communities. The first and highest duty of government is to take care of its own citizens. African Americans built this nation through generations of blood, sweat, and tears. And you, like all of our citizens, are entitled to a government that puts your needs, your interests, and your families first. After years of building up other countries, we are finally building up our country, standing up for our workers and fighting for our forgotten communities. The first and highest duty of government is to take care of its own citizens. African Americans built this nation through generations of blood, sweat, and tears. And you, like all of our citizens, are entitled to a government that puts your needs, your interests, and your families first.
It's Africa's misfortune, if I may say so. We are not united. We don't see things the same way. Some are afraid, some are hesitant, some are there for the interests of other people. The West, there are people who grew up over there, did everything over there, and then they come and are made heads of state in Africa. So they're the ones who control all of that. And so Africa can't have its own opinion.
So as soon as we came to power, we had hoped that we would be allowed to work quickly and make progress. Unfortunately, some people approached us and wanted us to go along with them because their goal was not for the war to end anytime soon. I'm talking about certain foreign forces that were present on our soil. We had heated debates with diplomats from elsewhere on the matter, but no one wanted us to move toward ending this war. We understood this through the messages. If people actually came to us and told us that we had to accept them supporting the terrorists while also supporting us, it means exactly what it sounds like. It's a war being deliberately maintained. So we quickly understood and we got rid of all the forces that were present here, whether French or American forces, and we realized that the real struggle would come afterward. The second thing was also we believed that we still had at least a minimum stock of weapons and ammunition. Today, I can tell you what I found, for example, in stock. There was just one supply line for all of Burkina Faso with less than 100,000 Kalashnikov rounds. And as for weapons, we barely had 100 of them. Simple ones. It was necessary to re-equip to strengthen the army in terms of personnel, weaponry, and everything else. So, if these prerequisites were met, the 3-month objective was indeed possible. But there was nothing. We were not prepared for war, neither in terms of equipment nor in terms of manpower.
People we sometimes thought they are the best people, they're the people who can really take us somewhere, or we believed some point or someday there's people who are showing us the way or helping us to get out of the maybe misfortunes and predicaments that were not even there, because they've even lied to us that we were in trouble, we needed help, we needed to be taken care of, we needed our things and issues to be worked out. They are the same people that can no longer be trusted today. And we realized, all of this was a lie. All of this was just something that was created, something that was made for us to believe a certain ideology or something that wasn't there. And therefore, the truth of the matter is that these people are bad news. It has been proven, it has been seen. People who have tried them, they've seen who they really are. They are no longer, and they can no longer be trusted. We used to be blindfolded and manipulated, and we never knew who the real things they were, who their real or what their real character and behavior was. We saw them as gods. We saw them as our mentors. We saw them as people who maybe are a little bit intelligent compared to us, because of how we saw their countries, how we saw their economy, and everything that belonged to them. Little did we know everything they had and every step in life they had made it. All these steps, all these achievements, they had gotten them by them actually stepping at or on our backs. Everything they had belonged to us. And because of that, because everything they had belonged to us, we didn't know. So everything, because everything they had belonged to us. They were rich, they became stronger, they became bigger. We never knew that they used to take what belongs to us to make themselves rich, to make themselves bigger, to make themselves expensive and all that. Yeah, they used our labor during by using the slaves to build their countries, by using the black Americans to make them stronger, to make them bigger, by using the black people who are outside Africa, the ones who were taken during the transatlantic slave trade, and they made themselves bigger using the labor from our people, our brothers and sisters. They came to Africa, they took resources from Africa, they stole everything, minerals and everything from Africa. They made it themselves, they made it theirs. But when they were coming, they used to tell us, we are coming because we've seen there is a certain problem in your countries that we need to work it out. You give us chance to work this problem out, give us chance to work something out. Okay, we believed them because we thought, because they looking better, they are looking good, they are looking better, they are looking a little bit higher compared to us and classy compared to us. We felt like if we don't give them a chance to help us, we can't get to where they are. Little did we know that for us to be where we were, it was because they made us be there. It was fashioned for us to be where we were. It was fashioned for us to be poor. It was fashioned for the black people to suffer, so that black people will continue seeking and begging from them. It is something that was fashioned. And therefore, because of the awakening that is globally, because of the black awakening, because of our God waking us up and telling us, you know what, you people are sleeping too much and things are not working out so well. You need to wake up. You need to start doing things in a different way. You need to start having an inner eye that shows you what is really happening. And that is why today we can no longer entertain manipulation. We can no longer entertain oppression. That is why you see the African Americans and the black Americans all over coming back to Africa, because they are tired with manipulation. They are tired with what has been happening all over. In African countries, when they came to African countries, they lied to us they were coming to help, but they never helped at all. What they came to do at that time was to steal, to kill, and to destroy. It was not to help. And so, things are changing. Our greatest leaders are beginning to place and to bring a change. And this change is inevitable. Okay? So, I want you to listen to this video. Ibrahim Traore is trying to explain something here, just to caution you and tell you whatever these people will tell you and everything they are looking like they are telling you is never true. It is never true. It has never been true. It is not going to be true. When Donald Trump told the black Americans that he is going to help them, that he loves them because they built America, so he wants to help them for them building America and for them trying to make America great. Was it a lie or it wasn't a lie? But this is the character. This has been the character and their character all the times. Speaking things just to make you believe in them, but at the end of the day, you are not the ones being targeted to be helped. It is because of their selfish gains. This is Donald Trump trying to say that he is going to do everything to make sure that he is standing with Americans, and he even loved the black Americans. Take a look at this video.
African Americans built this nation. You built this nation. You know, you're just starting to get real credit for that. Okay, I don't know if you know that. You're just starting to get, you built the nation. We all built it, but you were such a massive part of it. Bigger than you were given credit for. Does that make sense? Right? But through generations of blood, sweat, and tears, and you deserve a government that defends your interests, protects your families, and cares for our own citizens first. My administration is fighting with everyone and all our heart to reverse the pain inflicted by Democrat leaders and to deliver hope and opportunity.
But because there is a sudden awakening in the midst of the black people, in the midst of the African Americans, Africans in Africa, and the black people all over the world globally, the deceiveness is no longer going to happen. The manipulation and being deceived, being lied to, is something that we can no longer take it, because there is an existing generation that understands when you lie to them and when you're telling them the truth. They can no longer buy the lies that has been taken around for years. They can no longer accept to listen to lies that has been happening all over the years. They couldn't fall for that. They kept on saying, you know what, Mr. DJ, you are really lying to us. What we need right now is for you to pay back for everything that you ever did to us. Not you lying to us and telling us that you're going to take care of us and all that. We've heard that before. We've listened to that before, and we're no longer taking that. And this is Traore trying to tell and explain to all black people that these people cannot be trusted. What they say they're going to do, or what they say they're coming to do, is not what they exactly do. It has always been a lie. It will always be a lie. They will never take care of you. They will never get concerned about you. It will never be their responsibility. It will never bother them at all. Whether you're living better or you're not living better, it will never bother them. I want you to take a look at this video, and then I will come back and say something at the end of it. Yeah, I'm going to ask you to subscribe this channel if maybe you're watching me for the first time, and for the returning subscribers, I really do appreciate you. Now, as you're watching this video, prepare your thoughts, have them shared with me in the comment section. I will do my best to make sure I read all of them and give a response where possible. But until then, let's take a look at this video.
Precisely, Mr. President, as you just said, when you took power, to put it bluntly, there were more men than ammunition in the Burkinabe army. And today, where do we stand with the armament program for that army? And then, what are the signs that it is gradually gaining strength?
Very well. As I said, I can't describe the whole situation as it was. It was catastrophic. And as I said, you can investigate. There may even be soldiers in this room who were on the front lines without weapons that existed in our army. So these were situations where we thought it was just, I wouldn't say bad faith, but an incomprehensible situation. For us, the weapons were there, and yet they refused to equip them. But when we were confronted with reality very quickly, we resolved first to try to arm the personnel who were present. And that's when all hell broke loose, because many powerful countries refused to sell us weapons. So we turned to those who were willing to sell us weapons. Very quickly, we equipped ourselves, we recruited the VDP, and we were able to pay for everything we needed. We developed an equipment plan for a build-up in strength. And as you can see, for the past 2 years now, the equipment has started to arrive. It's still not finished, and more keeps coming in. Maybe in a few days, you'll see even more new equipment being presented, which is mainly support equipment. Because first, the infantry. We had to equip them so that every man could have a weapon issued to him. That was a big challenge. We've achieved it. We keep recruiting, as you can see. Every year, we recruit between 10,000 and 15,000 men. That's a considerable effort. Because when we say adversity is present, the number of terrorists increases. Because the imperialists are recruiting a lot of mercenaries who come to Burkina Faso to fight. So we have to adapt to the situation. And now we have our third phase, which is no longer about buying, but about manufacturing ourselves. And we're also working on that. So that's what building up our strength means. We need to be well equipped, but also to create a defense industry. That's very important.
In a few months or a few years, we'll have our soldiers here using weapons made in Burkina.
Of course. We have the intellectual capacity, there are resources. All it took was to look for them, and there you go. We're working on it. You'll be surprised, for sure.
Mr. President, I must ask, can we truly win this ongoing war? Are we, in fact, going to ultimately win it?
We can only win it. What else would we do? Rest assured, we're not going anywhere, and we will win this war. I told you that the threat is constantly evolving, but we are adapting. And the strength of the Burkinabe army is that it is one of the most resilient armies in the world. The pressure that Burkina Faso is under, I don't think there is any other country on earth right now facing this kind of pressure. But we are holding on, we will fight, and we are constantly adapting to the threat. And we understand where the threat comes from, how it manifests itself. That's the most important thing. And right now, I can assure you that soon we will be talking about a black albino who will appear. And you'll see. Don't ask me what that means. I think you'll understand later. The war will end, and very soon.
Precisely, to win this war, as you just said, we need weapons and we also need men, especially determined men. Determination, as you know, is the major game changer. That's what makes the difference in any war. Right now, as we speak, what exactly is the morale of our troops on the ground?
You've really gotten to the heart of the problem. Human resources, determined men. It's not just about supplying equipment. We need determined men. And if you notice, we are in the process of building a quality army. And it's not uncommon that when it's judged that a unit leader or an element has failed in their mission, they are dismissed and prosecuted. This has happened several times and it will continue this way. If you sign up to be a soldier, you must accomplish the mission because the mission is sacred to us. And another thing is that despite the pressure, despite the challenges, the men keep fighting and are very resilient. If today you catch a Burkinabe soldier and ask him, do you want other people to come fight in your place or come help you? They will never tell you that. They would rather die. That's where you can judge their morale. They are ready, always ready, despite the situation, no matter what battle we might lose. We will always hold the ground. That's what's very important for the soldier's mindset. So morale is at its highest. People never expected to have this level of equipment, but now they do. So they're giving it their all, and I can only congratulate and thank everyone who is fighting. It's very important.
So, Mr. President, in your speech, you talk about a war that takes different forms, that evolves. We keep asking ourselves this question. We wonder afterwards who is attacking.
Burkina Faso. It's not just terrorism. It's a war to seize our resources and prevent us from developing. I once explained this in a speech, I believe. I was saying that if we manage to properly exploit our subsoil resources to process what we are extracting here, what we are producing, there will be unemployment over there on their side. It's a battle. They plunder our resources in order to survive. So it's a war for independence. We must wage this war to be fully independent, to decide our own development, our own path. So that's what it's about right now.
Mr. President, as you just said, we're talking about the security and defense of Burkina Faso. Let's talk about your personal security. You just mentioned it a moment ago. The pressure is enormous. It's huge. The danger comes from everywhere. Mr. President, just in 2025, there have been several coup attempts that were foiled. Mr. President, do you ever feel afraid?
Thank you. I think that's the only strength I have. I'm not afraid. Because I trust all of you, that's the first thing. You have to trust the people, because it's the people who entrusted us with this mission. And I trust the people, that they will understand. And that's why we don't hesitate to stand before the people, to explain the situation to them and tell them what's going on. And that helps maintain a very good relationship. That's the first thing. The second thing, as I said, is that there was a mindset that needed to be developed within our own forces. That's very important. Right now, that mindset is there and people understand why they're fighting. If you look back a few years, many officers in the field didn't know why they were fighting. But if we know why we're fighting, who we're up against, and why there's this pressure, people understand better. And that's why we immediately created the Institute, the higher military school, so that we could train our own soldiers and instill in them what we want. Remember one thing, if you let your forces be trained by other powers, they put into their heads whatever they want. They indoctrinate them as they please, and it's easier to manipulate them. Here in Burkina, right now, that's actually what bothers many imperialist powers. They can't manage to infiltrate our army. All these units that have been created, all these men who are here, no one came from elsewhere to train them. We are built on our field experience, and we trained them ourselves. I personally took part in training some of these forces at the very beginning. So that's already a second strength. And the other strength is that if you have a mission, a goal for your country, you must not be afraid. If you are afraid, you hesitate. If you hesitate, you compromise. And once compromise sets in, you're done. I think that when you decide to make a revolution, you have to be prepared for this adversity. It's a logic that surrounds us. It's a logic that tries to bring us down. It's logical. As I say, it's a battle. They are fighting for their interests. And it's up to us, if we've decided to make the revolution, to do everything possible so that this encirclement is defeated. You see, in Africa, we're used to not having a strong army to begin with. There is no state if there isn't a strong army. But well, that was the system. As I once said to the elders, they came to flatter us. No, you shouldn't arm yourselves. Even recently, I think there was an interview where an American general said it again, that our countries don't need to be militarized. That's their view. We're like children. They're the ones who have to come, sit down, and provide security for us. And many countries are in this situation. They don't build an army. And when the situation arises, it's chaos. We, on the other hand, are building a strong army. That's why I said we fight in Burkina Faso and we train in Burkina Faso. That's very important. What was it like before? Every time, foreign forces, everyone would come to train your soldiers. They treated you as less than nothing. Today, many forces, foreigners are now seeking to come and train with us. You wouldn't believe it. The world's greatest powers want to come and train with us, with our soldiers. But it's not just about training. They want to learn how we do things, how we operate, who trains us. But today, no one knows how the commandos are trained, how we train them, how we equip them. Why do we think that it's others who should come and train us? They haven't created anything. They just thought about it. We have brains too. So we need a powerful army to face adversity. They will keep surrounding us because there will always be leaders in Africa like that who will allow it. They have their hands tied. They always betray. They will always allow the imperialists to come to their countries to attack their own brothers. If you accept the revolution, you have to go forward with this concept. That's how it will be. So there's nothing we can do about it. We deal with it, but it's up to us to prepare ourselves so that the encirclement is nullified, so they can never achieve their goal. That's all. So we deal with it.
Very recently, ECOWAS held a forum of chiefs of defense staff of the Friends of Africa. Mali and Burkina Faso were not there, nor was Niger. We sense a lack of solidarity. You who are at the top of the state, what can you tell us about that?
Well, it's not a lack of solidarity. Keep in mind that it's a confederation, not a federation. In some respects, we do a lot of things together, at least in tandem, but in the charter, it is stated that countries can decide on their own relationships and what they can do. We can't tell a country not to collaborate with another country. No, we're not at that stage yet. We are in the process of consolidating the confederation in many areas, including development, defense, and diplomacy. And afterwards, we will move on to the confederation. These are steps. So Niger can take part in meetings. The confederation is not closed off. We are open. We interact with everyone.
In the very model of governance, the fight against corruption is good governance. First, there is the example that leaders must set. As I say, you cannot be there, a certain category of Burkinabe, just because you have been entrusted with positions. For you, it's a choice between good whiskey and fine champagne. While women are dying as they go to fetch water from the river, drowning or something, it's just not acceptable. So there is this mindset that we need to have in order to build a just society. Everyone should be able to have access, for example, to clean drinking water. You can't just eat whatever you want, choose your meals, throw away whatever you like, while others can't even have a single meal. That's what led us to launch initiatives in agriculture, for example, because the majority of our population works in agriculture. But for a long time, we realized that they have been neglected. It's not that our land is poor, it's not that they lack the ability to work, but they also needed that boost, which is what led us to create these initiatives. Today, I think that the most important thing for me is that when you go into the countryside and ask the farmers questions, they can honestly tell you that now they feel good. They farm, they have enough to feed themselves, and the surplus, they sell. Generally, the community pays for it, creating a security stockpile. And when in certain areas or at certain times there are problems, they take it out and sell it at a well-subsidized price, accessible to everyone. So that's very important. The ideology of revolutionizing many sectors, when you look at the field of public finance itself, we're in the process of digitizing many aspects with a lot of difficulty because people don't like it. Soon, for example, we're going to launch electronic invoicing. Already, when we introduced the idea, many major operators were opposed to it. Why don't they want transparency? Because people have gotten used to cheating, to stealing. It's like a norm.
That's what's been established. So all of that needs to change. When it comes to infrastructure, there are a lot of things. The area of public procurement and everything related to it was actually the most corrupt sector. So you're an entrepreneur, you come to see us, we give you the contract, you overcharge, and then we split something under the table. That's the golden rule. And so when someone even comes with a different idea, you're automatically excluded. You're not allowed in if we let this continue. In that case, I don't think we can get out of it. We wouldn't be able to pay for weapons because, as I said, if you don't achieve economies of scale, you can't equip yourself. You won't find a single bank in the world where you can get a loan to buy weapons. That doesn't exist. It's with your own funds that you can equip yourself. In any case, we never had that opportunity. And if anyone knows of one, maybe we'd be interested. And everything we're currently acquiring, I told you once about the amount. It's in the billions of dollars. The country is at war, we have to do everything for the country. This imported unionism, that's not real unionism. There are even some who boast about having participated in the fall of Sankara. And it's them who started everything, and so on. Do you think that's a good thing? The Westerners manipulate you and you keep acting just the way they want. That's not unionism. A union fights for the interests of the workers. But most of the time, what the leaders really want is to come and share in the spoils with those in power. And people stay silent. No. Listen, we have a lot of files on a lot of, not just the unionists. In society, we have a lot of files. People who approached us at the beginning, who wanted favors, who wanted things we refused, who then turned away, who left, who talk. We have their files. So healthy unionism. There are a lot of actions that we have taken. We didn't wait for people to take to the streets to act. When I was talking about daycare workers, it wasn't someone who came to tell us that there were workers who had been let go and needed to have their rights restored. We saw a case and decided that their rights needed to be restored. We told the finance ministers, find the necessary funds to resolve this. The people from City Hall, the Green Brigade, those who work, they had months of back pay owed to them. For these people, those who are out of work, people weren't fighting for them before. No one came to us to say, hey, the women are sweeping branches at my place. It was one of my men who brought it up once. They said, it's been months like this, and so on, with their work. I looked into it, and he told me it was true. I said, as soon as we can, we need to make up for everything they've missed. Some of them had several, even dozens of months of back pay owed. We pulled out the files and decided to make up for all of that. So, we need to practice unionism. If there's a problem, people should come to us and explain it. If we can solve it, we'll tell you we can do it. If we can't, we'll tell you, for now we can't, but we'll be able to do it in a certain amount of time. But if there's a problem, we gather the media and speak however we want. I hope they'll find a solution with you. Otherwise, if after that you don't come to us anymore, I want us to work in an African way. When there's a problem at home, we sit down, we talk, and we have to be truthful. What we can do, we must say clearly, we can do this. What we can't do, we'll also tell you that we can't. Now, if you don't want to, everyone does what they can, but we have to be responsible. There is no problem that cannot be solved. And as I always say, always act with the interests of the nation in mind. That is very important. So we resumed the dialogue as we do with everyone. We haven't broken off dialogue with anyone. Everyone is welcome here.
Thank you.
A time like this is a time that we all now need to read from what we are seeing, to read from the things that are happening and deciding to make a change, that we are not going to go back, that we are going to go and march forward forever. We've seen enough. We've experienced enough. Our people have suffered enough. Our people have gone through difficult times and difficult moments enough. Our countries have been exploited and invaded enough. A time has come for us to make a change. It is only by us trying and deciding to make a change that we can save ourselves. Nobody's coming to do anything for us. Just like great leaders are taking steps like Traore and many other leaders. Just like great leaders are deciding to take a step of change and they're changing. That is the only way we can be able to help ourselves. We know that it is very threatening. You can see from how they behave when you're telling them we want to leave. You can see from how they're trying to actually behave when we are telling them we are no longer staying around. We are tired staying here. You can see how they really behave when we say, this is not the place that we want to be anymore. We want to go back home. You can see how they behave because you are threatening them when you're telling them you want to leave. Why? It is because it is you they depend on. It is because of you they are surviving. It is because of you they've been able to get where they are today. Will they accept the fact that they cannot live or survive without you? They won't accept that fact. But until you leave, they will get, and they will have no otherwise than just to accept the fact that they cannot survive without you. And that is why their countries are right now trembling because of a lot of you coming out. Their countries are beginning to tremble because of some African countries asking them to get out. It is either they are in African countries or you as Black Americans are in their countries. That is the only two ways they can survive. Either by associating themselves with African countries or coming to Africa and stealing and exploiting from Africa, or taking slaves into their countries, Black people into their countries. It is either them coming to Black countries and exploit from Black countries, or Black people being enslaved to their countries and work for them and raise their economy and stabilize everything in their countries and make them superpower that they can survive. The absentia of the both will determine their fate. The absentia of the both will decide their fate. And of course, it's not going to be a very positive fate, because they want you to help them survive, but they're not giving anything in return. It is not about you giving me, or it's called a dual benefit. That is a mutual benefit. You benefit, I also benefit. They are not into any business that benefits the both of us. They are not into any business that will make you rich and make them rich. They are into business that only makes them rich. They don't want to treat you as a business partner. They want to treat you as a servant. They want to treat you as a worker, not as a business partner. They do not want the world to know that they need you at some point. They know the world, they want the world to know that you fully need them and you cannot survive without them. When they are the ones who fully need you and they cannot survive without you. That is who they are. That is what they've always wanted. And that is why we have to make a change. That is why we have to preach a change, because a change must be created. A change must be made. And the only way to make a change is by the Black people uniting, coming together and saying no to everything that is happening in these countries, saying no to everything that is happening with this relationship, this bad relationship that are happening around here. They can't do anything. They can't go along. They can't put a step. They have to associate themselves with you or connect themselves to you for them to become the people that they are right now. And that is why when you say you want to leave, it sounds a threat to their midst. It sounds a threat to their plans and everything they've been doing all over the years. And that is why they would want to make you poor so that you cannot leave, because they know when you are poor, you're not going to live. It's going to be difficult for you to live when you do not have anything. That is why they've kept you poor within their boundaries. A daily oppression has to come to an end. A daily racism and segregation has to come to an end. We, being enrolled in rules and systems that does not make sense, and laws that doesn't even make any sense, should come to an end. They are not the ones who are going to put it to an end. It is we deciding to make a move, associate ourselves with a community that also thinks about us, a community that looks like us, a community that is willing to work with us like their brothers and sisters. That is the only way we can be able to save ourselves and we can be able to help ourselves, because what they say they will do to us is not what they will do to us, because they would never want us to be as equal as them. Tell me what you think in the comment section about this. I'll do everything to make sure I read all the comments and give a response where possible. Thanks for coming and thanks for always being here. I'm going to ask you to subscribe this channel. Don't forget, if you've not been able to do that. And for the returning subscribers, I really do appreciate you so much. Thanks for coming and thanks for watching. Until next episode, peace be with you.